let's go ahead and torque these in the back. Alright, now that we got some decent weather and I'm not so damn busy, now it's time to actually finish this motorcycle. Now I've already flushed out the rear brakes, I've already cleaned the rear caliper, so now all I have left is to clean this chain, clean the carrier with the sprocket, and then install it all and put it back together. There's tons of videos online about how to clean your chain. I'll show you what I do, but it's pretty much going to be very similar. A lot of guys use the chain clean like I was saying in the first video. I just use WD-40, and all I do is just spray a few links at a time here. I'll take my brush and clean her on up, give her a little scrub. And then what I'll do is come in from the back side here, which is what she said. And then I'll clean this side of the chain as well. Now after I've got that scrubbed to my liking, what I'll do is just hit it with just a little bit more. And then I'll just take a shop rag and then just kind of wipe off any excess grease and dirt and grime. You can see there that the brush didn't take off. The brush isn't going to really take it off. What you do is you scrub it, and what the brush does is it just agitates it and gets it loose, and the rag will go ahead and clean it up. You can look and see where it's been cleaned, and then you can see the dirty part. This chain is actually very clean to begin with, so it's going to be hard for me to tell when I've gotten all the way around. But what I do is I just work a little bit here and there. I'll pull a new 6-inch section, I'll scrub it, and then I'll pull another one, and like so until I get all the way around. I'm going to do that, and then from there we will go ahead and lubricate the chain. And just like that, we have a perfectly clean chain. Well, it may not be absolutely perfect, but it'll get the job done. And it's mostly clean. The last step that you saw me do was with this microfiber towel. It's just an old one that I've had laying around. And as you can see, that's all the crud that it picked up off the chain that this one didn't actually get. So I guess it's a three-step process when it comes to cleaning. Agitate it with this, get off most of this junk with this, and then really get it clean with this. And that didn't take me but 5 to 10 minutes. So now that this is done, one thing I'm going to do, since WD-40 is one of the best detailing sprays in the business, is I'm just going to clean around here. I'm going to clean up through here, just clean up little bits of rubber and grime and grease that I see on the swing arm. And then we'll proceed with cleaning the carrier and everything else. And then we'll be ready to put this thing back together. Now is a fantastic time, now that everything is clean, to go ahead and check your chain and check your sprocket. So what I'm looking for here, let's see, get this mounted up. I'm looking for anything abnormal. So these teeth, if one end was a little bit more of an angle than the other, then we know we have uneven wear and it's starting to get worn out. As the chain pulls on this thing, it's going to put more force on this side than it does on this side, so this end right here could actually get rounded down. And once it starts to get rounded, it'll only get worse. And eventually the whole chain could skip on the sprocket. And it can prematurely wear out your chain as well. One thing to note on Aprilias, make sure that these bolts are tight. Like I said before, these things love to come loose. So, got to make sure that they're tight. Also, you can inspect everything else. If we got uneven wear, you might see a little bit more paint gone. Like on this side, you can see there's a little bit of paint here that's missing. But on the back side, there's a little bit more. So I probably had a little bit of chain. The chain was probably not aligned perfectly. It might have wore on this side a little bit more. So if it's tilted a little bit, you can get some uneven wear on your sprocket. But this is a good time while we have it off the bike to inspect it. Now let's take a look at the chain. So the chain, obviously we want no rust, but we also want to make sure that all these things move. They move freely. And you can do that just by making like a little wave. Now if you find a real tight spot, then you'll know that that part of the chain is probably stretched. So we're going to go through the whole chain and just make sure that we don't have any tight spots in it. And just move it. There will be a little bit of force. I mean, it's not, you know, real loose, but you'll know it if it's tight. It'll be like, and it just like won't move at all. Or it takes like a lot more force to move that than it would to move a different section of the chain. So we go through the whole thing, which I've already done already. I was just showing you guys. We're good to go. So now we're ready to put it back together. Okay, one other thing we want to do here is clean this off. This has been sitting here for a while, so just give it a good spray. And then just give it a good wipe. Get all that old grease off of there, any dirt and grime that may be on it. And these things do pick up grime because you do grease them before you install them. So, there we go. Look at that, WD-40 coming in the pinch, coming in the clutch. Get this block good and clean. Okay, that's all there is to that. Now, we're going to grab a little bit of Mobil 1 synthetic grease, or whatever grease you have lying around. And doesn't take a whole lot. We're just going to grease this up like so. And then what I do, I just take a little paper towel and I just spread it out. I don't want it real thick. I just want a nice light coating. All right, perfect. Okay. Now we're going to put this back on. Remember, like I said before, that's going to go facing this way because there's the chain adjuster. If you can see that in the camera, I don't know. But that's it. Let's go together with it. All right, let's get this sucker mounted up. First, we got to get our chain out of the way. And that's good enough for now. Next, we're going to get the tire in there. Be careful on the brake caliper. You don't want to scratch your wheel. And then the tire, the brake rotor will slip into the brake caliper. Make sure the pads are all the way seated There we go. And she just slides right in there. All right, cool. Now we're gonna get our chain. Sometimes it helps to push the wheel forward if you can do that. There we go. Now we're cooking with fire here. Apparently they make a special tool for this. I'm just gonna spin the chain on. Don't mind the stupid barking dog that's always barking when I film these videos. Okay. Okay, make sure your spacer stays seated. Mine did not. There we go. All right. Now, it's time to get the axle ready. It's gonna go this way. Just gonna shove it like that for now. And then what I'm gonna do is lift up the tire and the wheel. Slide her on in there. Now it's helpful to look on the right side, which I'm going to move now. How about this? There we go. Maybe that down so you guys can see. Okay. Now you'll see it came out a little bit here. I need to push it back just a little bit. What we have to do is pull up on the brake caliper bracket. You just gotta kind of look in the hole and find out where you need to move it to get it lined up. Almost in there. That special tool from Pitbull would be really nice. I'll see if I can find a link to that, because that would make life 10 times easier if I didn't have to hold up on this tire at the same time I'm trying to insert this axle. Right now I'm holding pressure on the left side, trying to get the axle to go in. It's a very, very tight fit. And it looks like I'm losing right now. Huh. Apparently all I needed to do was lift up right here. And that's all she wrote. I just lifted up there and it slid right in. So now we slide it in right here. Just like that. Now what I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna push this forward just a little bit more. Let's push this axle, I gotta twist it just a little bit. Like so. And then I'll push it in. All right, better camera angle now. Push this in just a little bit further. Pop her on in there. There we go. All right, it's good enough for a little bit, for a minute. Oh, I forgot to clean a piece. All right. I think I have a WD-40 soap rag here. go. Nice and clean like. All right, I can see where this washer was sitting, and I can see where the chain adjustment bolt here came in contact with it. So this is going to go right here, just like so. And then all I got to do is finish pushing it all the way through, and that'll be good to go. And this is why I like to grease these things, because this can be a complete pain when you only have one person. It's going, it's just, there we go. There we go. Not enough to get a bolt on it yet, but at least she's in there. All right, now that the dog's still barking, I'm gonna go ahead and put the washer on. And then we can take this and put it on here. All right, I don't want to get it tight yet. What I need to do is make sure that the chain is has the right amount of slack, and we'll talk about that now. Okay, so what we want to do is make sure that we have about 1 inch of travel right here when the wheel is on the ground and the bike's under its own weight, at least on the rear tire. So we're going to do that now. So I don't have the axle tight, so I'm just going to take some of the weight and set it on the rear tire like so. Okay. You can see that changed the ride height just a touch. We want about 1 inch right there in the middle, and that's about 1 inch. Now, if you didn't have 1 inch, if it was real tight, what you do is you got to adjust the chain with this adjustment on each side. And you want to make sure that you're counting the number of faces on the bolt, the adjustment screw rather. So what you do is you take this nut loose, and in order to tighten the chain, you want to spin this out, and what that does is makes this bolt come out longer, and it pushes the axle towards the rear of the motorcycle and takes up the slack in the chain. Now if the chain is too loose and you got like 1.5 inches of slop, or if the chain's too tight and you don't have any slop in it at all, you're going to need to loosen it. So what you want to do is loosen this, and then you're going to spin this in, and it moves the axle forward on the bike and loosens the chain. Anytime you move these, make sure you count the number of faces. Each side is a face, I call them. So we have 1, 2, 3, and there should be 6. And what you do is you go 1, 2, and then go on the other side, 1, 2, to make sure that you do it evenly, because you don't want to tighten up one side more than the other, because then your tire won't be aligned. So what you're going to do is just run this process of counting faces, 1, 2, and these actually have quite a bit of effect. You don't think it even just a millimeter or two matters that much, but man, it makes a huge difference when you get to the chain. So make sure you count the numbers and make sure that they're even. If it just requires a small little adjustment, maybe just 1 face. If it's more, maybe 3, 4 faces at the very most should get you what you need. So don't go cranking on it, because then by the time you get there, it's going to tighten up a lot more, or it'll loosen up a lot more. So to tighten this axle, we want to make sure that the axle and these blocks are fully up against these adjustment screws. That way we don't tighten it up with the rear tire out of alignment. So what I like to do, you'll see a lot of other guys do this as well. I take a rubber hammer and I just tap that forward, and then I take a rag, just one side of it like this, and I'm going to put it on there, and then I'm going to spin the rag up into this sprocket. What that's going to do is take up slack on the chain, and it's going to force the axle up against the adjustment screws, And then we're going to go over there and tighten it up. Torque spec is 120 Newton meters. $118.3, it's close enough. All right. All right, so now all we have left to do is go through the bike and make sure that everything is tight and that I didn't forget anything. I've had my bike taken apart for a couple of weeks as I filmed this video and working around my work schedule and whatnot, so I'm going to go over everything and just make sure that everything is as it should be, and just inspect all the cables, the way that they're routed, if I moved any of the if I moved anything around, you know, down here, like any routing for any of these hoses, anything like that. Just want to make sure that I have everything all squared away. I just finished filming my suspension video as well, so I have wires and things that I've had to move out of the way so I could film what I was doing. So I'm going to make sure that everything is good to go, and that should be it. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're getting some good value out of this content. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that I could do better, and anything that you would like to see in an upcoming video perhaps. I'd be happy to film it if that's a topic that I get a lot of requests on. So appreciate you watching, and hope you have a great day.